Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Holistic Flow, well, our channel. I like to not think of it as just me on here, but this is the second episode of Flow Talks, which is kind of like a series that I'm putting together of a conversation that I want to have with you all about things that I would usually talk about on my YouTube channel in a sit down video where I would sit down, have an idea in my head, talk about it, and then when I post it later on, you would comment on it and say, "Oh, I liked it," or "Oh, I took something from it." But in these live streams, I really want to. I feel like I'm having a conversation with you all, and at least in the most conversational way possible. So I hope if you find this conversation helpful, or if you find this like talk helpful, that you'll comment and want to hear your opinion on these topics. Today's topic is, if you've seen the title, talking about not fitting in, not feeling like you are, like there's a place for you, slash, not really having any friends. This topic is very uh, hits home very much so for me because it's my experience, and I know it's an experience of a lot of other people. I did a video on this, like a sit down talk video on this a little while ago, probably like a month or two ago, and it got a great response from it. So I knew that a lot of people can identify with this too, especially a lot of you who like watch my channel and maybe are here for like the more mental health videos when I talk about spiritual concepts, those type of things. And I have so much to say about this topic. I really want to hear what you all have to say about it too. Ziomara, Christina, hey there. I really as well. Hey, I hope that you find this talk interesting and that you interact too. Wes Guyden, Wes is my friend. Hi, Wes. This will be a great and interesting conversation. Yes, I agree. Um, so again, like I said, I really want this to be like even if you're watching this on replay, like a conversation between us. So if there's anything at all that you agree with or you relate to, or you like, this is me, this is my lived experience, throw it in the comment section and maybe we can have like multiple different discussions happening on live and on the replay. As I was driving home, I was thinking, or let me give some backstory. I just started a new job recently, um, a full-time job. I got a big girl job now, and it is a job in sales. I work at LA Fitness, which is right in my niche because if you did not know, I recently graduated from Winston-Salem State University, the illustrious Winston-Salem State University, with a degree in exercise physiology. And fitness has been something that, excuse me, I really gravitate towards. And also, I'm a mindfulness coach, meditation instructor, and I cater to coaching fitness enthusiasts and athletes because I saw that there was a great need in the athletic community and fitness community for mindfulness meditation and really a higher level of consciousness. So I got the job last week and I started on Monday. And sales is something like a skill that you need to be able to talk to people. So you call people all day and you're like, hey, trying to sell them, like, hey, you want to get a membership, we got the deals for you, right? And you have to be personable, you have to talk to people, you have to, in a way, get to know people's personalities. You have to see what type of uh, you just have to kind of like read people, right, before you try to sell them on a membership to see if they're really interested, or you have to read their body language and things like that. Ultimately, my job is a very interactive or very personable or sociable job. And I've already met a couple of different people at my job, mainly like my coworkers. And when I was driving back from work today, I just got off at like 7. When I was driving back, I was thinking about some of the interactions that I've had at work already, and thinking about how they relate to some of the lived experiences that I have had with feeling like the odd one out throughout my childhood, throughout uh, even through like the beginning to middle of my college. There's this idea that most people have a version of how they're treated, or how they crack jokes or inside jokes with their friends or their friend group. And if you're outside of that box of like the way that normal people are treated, then you feel like there's something off with you, or there's something that people recognize about you that's different than other people. And they because they recognize that it's different about you, they want to talk to you differently. They want to they don't want to have the same type of inside jokes with you. They might not invite you to the same places that they invite normal people or the general population. And that can often make us feel exactly how I described, left out. And when I was thinking about it, I I finally got to a place recently where I was able to feel fulfilled, not necessarily being invited to all the places that everybody else was, or being invited into all the inside jokes that other people had, because I realized that the advantage in that, which I can get to later on. I'm looking down at my notes because I want to stay on topic. When you are confidently, unashamedly living outside of society's box that it tries to like put everybody in, then it sends like it sends an energy out to everybody around you. And people read you as the confident one who's not afraid to let their light shine brighter than a lot of people who are masking their light to fit into this box. And then you realize that the box isn't even for you in the first place. And the benefit of living outside of that box is that you're free. Literally, you're free. But let's get I feel like I want to start from the beginning, like start from why, some of the reasons why we feel so left out. And Ziomar said, right. Yes. So if you agree with any of these reasons, I'm about to read some notes from a previous video that I did right on this same topic. And it was like reasons why you don't fit in and have no friends. That was literally the title of the video. Let me go to my notes. All right. By the way, this live stream is probably going to be like an hour long. I try to make these conversations a good time. And also, sometimes my ring light just decides to go out. So if I lose a little bit of the light that you see shining on my face, it's because my ring light went out. It does that sometimes. So when I say feeling like you have no friends or feeling like you don't fit in, well, those are two separate events, but they often coincide with each other because, firstly, I find it interesting that the feeling of not fitting in is so common. It's so popular. Like I said, for when I posted that video, I got such a massive response from it because it's so many people's experience that they feel like an outcast. And then I started to think, there are probably more people that feel like they don't fit in than people who do feel like they fit in. So, if there are so many people that don't feel like they fit in and feel like there's not a place for them, why is there the perception that there is a place to fit into in the first place? Like, if so many people feel like that, these videos are so common, right? Before planning this live stream, I actually looked up this topic, and before doing my last video on this topic, I looked up other YouTube videos on this topic, as I often do when I'm getting inspiration for the things that I talk about. And I'm seeing that this type of thing is very common, right? So if a lot of people feel like this, why is there the perception that there is a place to fit in too? Maybe that's just something to think about as we go throughout the rest of this conversation. So one of the first reasons is that we have a narrow view of what we need because we're simply focused on what we think we want. So when we feel like there's not a place for us, we have a narrow view of what is actually for us, and more beneficial for us, because our judgment is clouded by what we see others having. For example, when I was growing up and everybody seemed to have that one friend group that they did everything with and they went out with, and they would go, I don't know, on outings on the weekends. And in high school, I pretty much um, personally did not have that friend group to do things with. And so I thought, because I saw everybody else like in cliques and things, I thought that I needed to be there too. And I thought that that was for me because that's what I wanted just because everybody else had it. However, sometimes what we want isn't even what we really want. Like, we don't want, how do I put this? We don't want those type of interactions, mainly because we don't actually know what they consist of. Like, all the cliques and all the groups that I probably saw in high school were probably kind of toxic. There were probably a lot of them were probably influencing each other to not do the greatest of things and not go down the greatest of paths. I know because after graduating, you see a lot of them, a lot of the same people that you graduated with, or whether they went to college or whatnot, and like they talk about some of the friendships that they had and friend groups that they were hanging out with that weren't really putting them on the right direction, and they didn't have the greatest mindset. So literally, when you're close to people, the people that you hang around with, like the closest 5 people around you are some of the main factors that make you who you are. And when I was younger, I didn't want to believe that. I didn't want to believe that the people who I hung out with like literally made me who I was. And I think if you don't want to believe that, it's probably because you probably know in the back of your mind that's probably true. Like, if you look at who you hang out with and you're like, oh, I don't want to be like them, then you're probably not hanging out with the right people. But that's why I say and I'm gonna read your comments in a couple minutes after I finish. But that's why I said what we think we want probably isn't what we really want. Because if we really knew what all came with what we think we're saying that we want, we wouldn't want it. Like, if I knew everything that came with like all those cliques and groups, I wouldn't want it. And now knowing, when you have a higher sense of When you have a better relationship with yourself, you get to know yourself a little bit more. You probably know that you're not really like the person to go out all the time and hang out anyways. You don't even really like being social sometimes. Not that, you know. Okay, anyways. So that's the first thing. We have a narrow view of what we need because we're always focused on what we want. Uh, Wes said that was me in high school and freshman year of college. Dream Move said, "LOL, no doubt about that." Cloud Archie said, most high school groups are for sure wasted. Only works with an extremely small group, probably three, who consist of their own individuality. You know, I agree with that. I agree with that last comment, especially about. Well, I agree with all of your comments, but with a small group, I remember seeing this post that was like, it was a visual of how your friend group is going to look like by the time you get older. So it was like middle school. It was like 10 people. The beginning of high school, maybe like your freshman year, it was like 6 people. The middle of your high school was like 4 people or whatever. And then it was like in college, it's like you and another person. um, which is quite accurate. And I think the smaller circles are better as well. And also the groups of friends or maybe individual friendships that maybe you don't talk to them every single day. Maybe y'all aren't hanging out with each other every single day, but like that's still a person that you heavily what's that word? Like you heavily you rocking with them for real. Like you heavily rocking with them because they're having the same mindset as you. They bring you up um, instead of build you down. And maybe like those interactions with people when y'all always in alignment with each other. I have a few friends, a few friends that we may not talk every day or every other day or maybe like every week. But whenever we do talk, it's a lot of stuff that's like in alignment with each other and it's for a purpose and it's full of give and take. Um, I wouldn't say always 50-50, but it's always give and take. And it's never, I feel like we should never feel like we're giving so much of ourselves that we eventually feel run empty because there's negativity in that space or there's toxicity in that space or there's envy in that space. There's so many times that we kind of like feel in competition with each other. And I feel like this is a natural human thing. We often feel like we're in some type of competition with each other because we're low key trying to like flex on each other, and we see it every day when we're like scrolling on Instagram or social media or something. The same thing that we try to do to appear a certain way on the outside, we do with our friends, males and females. It doesn't matter what gender, what orientation or whatever. Everybody tries to flex on each other low key, and then soon enough, with some type of interactions we have with each other, it's like you're in a battle of comparison, and it can get real toxic, real quick. I might have to make like a whole other conversation about toxic friendships. I think that was actually one of the choices. If somebody can like go back and look, let me read these comments. I'm glad I'm not the only, Alicia Cadet. I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels like this. I battle with this constantly. It's hard making meaningful friendships, especially when I don't talk. When I don't talk what most talks about. Yeah, understandable. Look, I totally understand like the types of conversations that you want to have are often not what people are versed in. So it's like either they're not on the same wavelength or they simply don't want to hear it. And it's, you know what's crazy? Some people may actually feel like you're a little bit too intelligent or bright for them. And it's such an unconscious thing that if you've ever heard somebody say, "Man, you why are you using all them big words?" or whatever you do, why are you talking like I don't know, however you talk, however you converse, they'll like criticize you for it. But in another in another conversation or in another setting, it would be a good trait to have. But sometimes people like try to flip it back on you and say that it's I don't know, like weird or unusual because you have just more in-depth conversations, more conversations on a deeper level. And that's a way that a lot of people try to get you to dim your light. And you'll see that people try to make you want to bring yourself down to their level so that they feel satisfied with staying in society's box. People want us to dim our lights so bad. And like people will be people. Like I don't blame people for doing that. Maybe I shouldn't say that because I mean it's their doing. But a lot of times people don't even realize that they're doing that. It's just that they've been told probably by society that they need to dim their light. So they make everybody else dim their light because they feel uncomfortable with somebody standing next to them, their light bright. Their light bright and it just like blinds them and they just get uncomfortable. So they try to do that to everybody else. Dream Move said, you know, the world is such a strange place. I'm into psychology too. I find myself listening to Jordan Peterson a lot too. He talks about this stuff so well. Jordan Peterson, is he on YouTube? I think maybe I'm subscribed to him. Because that sounds familiar. I love psychology. I actually went into college as a psychology major, but then I switched to exercise physiology. Maybe I should have kept a minor in psych because that's a lot of the stuff I talk about on my channel. So yeah, I love psychology too. Whitney Walsh said, I think those experiences we have in high school and college are what shapes us and helps us to weed out those relationships that were not meant to be long term, anyhow. That's facts. That's facts, Whitney. You speaking facts because look, like the best thing we can do is see, like become aware of how in every single situation, it's simply shaping us. Every single situation. And what you said about these relationships not meaning to be long term, that often that often hurts, right? Because we sometimes spend a lot of time getting to know people and building these bonds, and for some, establishing trust, things of that nature. And then we turn around and the bond has to be severed. Like the bridge has to be burned. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that uh, experience a lot. And it takes sometimes a very, very high level of thinking to realize that all of the temporary friendships and bonds that we build are because there was something that we had to add in somebody else's life and they had to add in our life. And then once the give and take has, like, once the transaction has been made, the bonds have to be broken because they have to move on to the rest of their life and we have to move on to the rest of our life. And we literally have no more purpose left in each other's life. And it's crazy how, like, something that was once so fruitful can turn into something that's like actually kind of toxic if you hold on to it. And that's another thing with like not feeling like you have any friends or not being able to like keep friends, is you sometimes wonder like, why friendships are so temporary, or like, why do I keep getting done dirty by people who I trusted? And I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons, because sometimes we need to learn how to not trust people as much, because I kind of like have my own philosophy about trust, and I have like a whole video on it. But long story short, um, I believe in the Bible and what the Bible says about trust. And it says, don't put any trust in a neighbor, don't have confidence in a friend. And whatever your religion or, you know, preferences, I think this can apply to anybody's life, because have you ever trusted somebody and then they like break the trust, and then it makes it harder for you to forgive them? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think human beings are meant to be trusted, and this is the reason why. Because human beings were literally, we it's literally in our core being to do each other dirty. It's our most natural human instinct to every man for himself. You know what I'm saying? And so even when we try our hardest effort to do right by people, it's in our nature to not do right by people. And it really takes our spiritual side to be brought out, to love, to respect, um, to do all of those things. But literally, when we put trust on somebody, kind of think of it like this: a we're putting a confinement on them. That's like this: we're saying, hey, this is my trust for you. This box right here. This is my trust for you. And I want you to stay in here. If you go out here, I'm not going to trust you anymore, and it's going to be really hard for me to forgive you. Say if Sally, you tell Sally, hey, don't tell my secret, Sally. Be right here. Stay right here for me. Stay right here for me, because I trust you. But Sally slips up and she tells her secret, because Sally's a human being. Okay, Sally went outside of that confinement of trust. So now it's really hard for us to forgive Sally. And it kind of dehumanizes us. I feel like this is my total opinion. A lot of people probably don't agree with this, but I think forgiveness should always be like our first resort. Because when we think about how many things that we do wrong as a human being, and think about all the things that you have done that you had no intention of doing, but it was just kind of like something and you just like slipped up and it was like, oops, I decided to be human today. So like I did something wrong. And when we ask for people's forgiveness, we have to remember all the things that we've ever done that we didn't mean to do. We had no intention to do, but because we decided to be a human being that day, we stepped outside of somebody's trust. We did something wrong. And so whenever we trust somebody, it's kind of like we're putting a confinement on them, that we expect them to behave in a way that ultimately serves to please us and only us. You know what I'm saying? When we trust somebody, it's like, okay, do this for me because I trust you. Do this for me. And yeah, I hope that explained that in the right way. That's what I think about trust, at least. It's a very unpopular opinion, but I think humans should not trust each other. We should not aim to trust each other. And I know that's like a very taboo thing, but I think we should love each other, respect each other, expect greatness out of people, forgive people, but I don't think we should like look to trust each other, because it's actually like a freeing thing. Once I learned that, it kind of freed me from a lot of things. Okay, some of these comments were from like a minute ago, and I just didn't get to read them. Cloud Archie said, "It's true. I also have friends who I barely talk to, but when we speak, it's not a shady vibe. It's like, I know you had your own stuff going on, and I'm happy you're doing fine." The problem is not helping each other rise up, but nowadays it's more like a consumes consumes the other. So they further their own goals, because most of the time it's a battle of egos these days. Definitely a battle of egos. A manipulator slash false friend can't handle someone with a stronger will than their own because they lack control, especially when they can't be a bigger person in the conversation. Yeah. I think I should make a whole other like live about toxic friendships, because that's like a whole other conversation. I got kind of like off topic with that last one with like the trust thing, because I have so many other notes that I want to go through with the feeling like left out. Uh, Amen. Yes. I was, I'm sorry, Katiana. I think, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I'm sorry. I was a little scared because I know you identify as spiritual, but I didn't know if it was new age. Uh, nope. Nope. Cloud Archie said, "What's new age to you, Katiana? I've heard of this time to time. It seems like divine-ish, but not the Abrahamic God." Um, I kind of like stray away from talking about religion on my channel, um, because I really think that religion, religion as in like Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, uh, Judaism, I think those are labels that human beings have put on ourselves in order to divide ourselves. Because we really think about like God don't want people to be divided, and all we did was like put ourselves in categories. When honestly, a lot of us believe in similar things. We just call them different things. For example, Christians will call the spirit inside of us like the Holy Spirit, right? But somebody who believes in science will probably call it their vital energy. Somebody who believes in, I don't know, just like spirituality, whatever they practice, might call it prana or chi. Somebody somebody else might just call it their consciousness. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us believe in the same things, and we kind of get our inspiration from each other. We call them different things, but of course it's dependent. What you call it depends on what you believe in and what the source of that is. um However, I like to I like to refrain from like talking about religion, even though my religion is Christianity. I rock with Jesus. I rock with Jesus heavy. Um, so Dream Move said, "That's the truth though. Ever notice how even with the toddler, the nature of selfishness is like it's already engraved in them. That's whiny and spoiled." Yeah, toddlers, they be like, "Jimmy, share your toys," and then like Jimmy be like, "Jimmy ain't sharing." You literally have to teach kids to be nice. So selfishness is in our nature, definitely. Um, Katiana said, Cloud Archie, exactly. New Age is what I was delivered from. It's replacing God with crystals, yoga, meditating, not on God's word, but the universe, worshiping creations instead of the creator like love. So this is maybe I should do another conversation on this too. Or maybe not, I don't know. But oh, this is getting so off topic. I wanna speak on this though, because this is so popular, like this new age thing. And for a second, I kind of got into it, y'all, because I do meditate. I meditate every single day and I believe in the power of meditation. And of course, it's like, okay, what are you meditating on? But I meditate because it helps me get calm. It helps me be less anxious. And the psychology behind it, it helps rewire your brain towards a higher awareness of who you are. And I practice yoga every single day. It is a spiritual practice. And honestly, nobody else on this green earth can tell you who God is except for God. Like, if God is the creator of all of us, and we as human beings go to another human being and consult them and get our idea of the creator from another human being who was created by the creator, we don't we don't know by ourselves who God is for somebody else. And that's another reason why I like kind of like refrain from talking about religion on my channel, because I can't tell anybody else who God is like to them, for them. They have to find it out on their own. We all have to find it out on their own. So I don't know, for somebody, it might be what feels right in their heart, right? For somebody, Christianity is what feels right in their heart. For somebody, Hinduism is what feels right in their heart. For somebody, Muslim is what feels right in their heart. And honestly, who are we to say that that is not right? Because what if it's right for them? We don't know what's in their heart. Well, I don't know. I can only speak for myself. But I just want to speak on that. Okay, I'll read the rest of these, and then I'm gonna get back on track so I can like close out this video. Um, yes, it really baffles me how people rely on these crystals and stones, but in all truth, what saves you is who you are, not what you do. A wicked heart can do good things, but that won't save them. Very true. Very true. Wait, what's wrong with New Age? Isn't another way to get closer with God? Also, I don't think New Age is really new because the info has been here before. That's a good point. I don't know. Here, one thing. Should I read the comments out loud or y'all can see them? Okay. Hmm. Okay, maybe I should make another video on this because y'all really seem interested in this. And yeah, I'm gonna make another video on this. Y'all gonna see it soon because I think I want to have this conversation, but like on a different day when I'm ready. Um, I'm gonna reset and kind of like segue into another reason. Let's say I knew this would be an interesting conversation. It is. This is a very interesting conversation. And thank you to everybody who is participating in this conversation. And honestly, I really appreciate all of y'all who like interact and watch my videos and comment. And I appreciate all of you all in the comments like sparking conversation, because no matter what it is, like I appreciate just the respect that everybody gives each other and like the enlightenment, and we're all open-minded to new ideas and to new things and to some things that you may not have known before, some things that test your theology, because that's what I'm all about. And I think we should never go into a conversation thinking that we know more than the next person, because knowledge isn't just like horizontal, it's also vertical. Like the knowledge, the textbook knowledge that we read in books, yeah, that's great, but there's other knowledge too, like wisdom that is vertically instead of horizontal. It's not worldly. It's something that you can only get if you're connected. And that's why I love this channel. Thank you guys. Y'all don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate y'all real. Y'all so real. Yeah, make another video because I'm growing. I will. Okay. Let me get back on topic though. So if you're in this boat that you feel like, man, ain't no place for me over here. Ain't no place for me in these walls that society has built up, right? You already probably have the idea that you're chosen. Like you may not have chose this life for you, because if you got to choose it, you probably wouldn't choose this this life, right? That's a lot of us. But like we here, so while we here, we might as well make the most of it. And it's a good thing that we didn't choose it, right? Because if we would have chose it with our own human ego knowledge, we probably would have chose something that we would have hated anyways. And because our creator chose it, it's something greater than what we can understand with our own human knowledge. And we have something to do here that is larger than what any other human can comprehend too. And because other human beings can't comprehend it, they can't really see the vision. I mean, we can barely see the vision of like why we're here sometimes. That's what makes it so great. Because if you can, most of the times, if you're comprehending it with your own ego logic, it's not divine. You understand what I'm saying? Like everything that is divine, well, maybe not everything, because there's some divine things we can comprehend with our mind, but a lot of things that are divine, they don't have a reason for them. Well, everything has a reason, but most of the time we don't see it until after it happens, right? Everything that's like aligned and, what am I trying to say? Everything that is like divine is not supposed to be comprehended by human logic. So if you can't understand why you're not feeling fit in, or why you're feeling left out, or why you're feeling like the odd one out, it's because it's for a divine purpose. That's exactly why. And it's because we are chosen to live that life. We didn't choose the life, which is the best part. And when we are chosen, we can't we can't be influenced. We don't usually have the time or the energy to be so heavily engulfed in society's standards that it throws us off from our main mission here. So sometimes we can't understand our main mission, and it seems like we want to go with the flow of everything else, but we don't have time or energy for it because we have something bigger to do than to be wrapped up in all the mayhem and foolishness that's going on around here. And when you feel set apart, I think it's important to note that it's not necessarily saying that you're like superior than other human beings, because all of us are just human beings out here being human. However, it is to say that maybe you have a higher level of consciousness than a lot of other people who are simply asleep, and they will wake up at their own time. But for now, you're simply more aware of what you need to do. And the more that we resist this call to action, the more that it hurts, honestly. Let's see, what else I got in my notes? The more that we resist, okay, think of it this way. This is a great analogy. So, y'all know that children's toy, the thing that infants play with, right? It has um, a hole for different shapes. So you put the star in the hole where the star goes. You put the circle in the hole where the circle goes. You put the square with the hole and the square goes. And the infants learn their shape by doing this toy or by playing with it. So if you're a star and you're steady over here trying to fit in the hole that's shaped for the square, man, it's gonna be painful. You know what I'm saying? Can you just imagine a 1-year-old just trying to boom, 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 just jam it in and it's not going? And then the mom's like, sweetie, that's a square. You know, it's painful and it can be draining. So like if you feel like you're drained from all these experiences of like being rejected or being left out or failed friendships, it's because we're literally trying to fit in a hole where we don't belong. That like a hole that wasn't made for us. But the thing about this infant toy, right, is there is a hole for the star. It's just eventually the star has to find its hole. So like it's not that there isn't. Oh snap. What the hell? What the hell was that? Okay. Sorry about that. My light went out. um okay, anyways. I said at the beginning of the video that this was gonna happen. My light goes out all the time. Oh, let me read some of these comments. Actually, no, let me finish my sentence before I forget. It's not that there isn't like a star hole for us. It's literally that we're trying to fit into a square hole or a circle hole. So the star hole, there are probably a lot fewer people in the star hole. And it's because a lot of people are called to fit into the star hole. Many are called, few are chosen. So a lot of people are called to live this life that's like a life of basically not going with the grain of everything else. A life that's like away from society's standards. A life that sometimes you ain't gonna have, you know, those close friends. But because we're like either insecure or we have a fear of being alone, some people may not follow that, and they don't answer the call. So they are inside of that box. However, the box where the star is I'm sorry, that light thing just like kind of threw me off. Um, the box where the star is where not as many people are, but it's like kind of where we could fit in. Um, if there was a place to fit in. And that brings me back to something I said in the beginning. There's a facade that there is a place to fit in the first place, when I don't think there is. I think that that's a facade of the world, and that's a facade of society. Society literally makes us think that there are all these places where we're supposed to fit in, and if we don't, then we're just out of luck. But I don't really think there's supposed to be a place to fit in. It's all just an illusion. But let me read some of these comments. You a gem for sure. Thank you. 8 inks. I'm not sure how to say your name, but that's an interesting name. Wow, Alicia said, wow, it makes sense. I've always felt like what I'm supposed to do has to be like that because of always being constantly put in situations where solitude is needed. This is why we have to surrender. Yes. There's so many things that we don't understand. And we're often just thinking with our logic human brain, and our human ego self is what often leads us um, to all the places that are not the best for us. So we have to surrender to what we don't know or understand, which is everything divine. That's good. Q Cab said, very painful. Yeah, it is. Cloud Archie said, I've been feeling this way, man. Like, I can't connect to people anymore, but I can understand them and help. But I just can't be with them mentally. I'm losing interest in games, consoles. Okay, Cloud Archie, I'm going to respond with something that one of my friends, Wes, and he's actually like on the chat right now, said to me. Yeah, so y'all know how earlier I said, I believe in the Bible, right? He said to me, he said that, hey, I don't think Jesus had friends. And I just sat back and I said, wow, you're right. Like, Jesus did not have friends. As a matter of fact, he was one of the most hated people ever. And you know what Jesus did? Everything good. He only had good intentions, and Jesus was a G. Okay, Jesus was a G. Like, even though he was real kind, he wasn't going like that, right? So like, he was like going around like respecting people, demanding respect, right? And like, y'all just remember the time that he got angry and he flipped the table in the temple because he was so angry because they was using it for what was it, gambling? Anyways, because that's why he a G, because he wasn't going like that. But like, all he did was like have intentions of doing nice things, and he was still like one of the most hated people. But he healed people, he performed miracles, he loved on people, right? And he had disciples, like he had people that follow him, right? But he didn't have friends. He didn't have friends. And I think some of the most like leaders don't have people that are on their same level that are doing what they're doing. Maybe they have like a right hand. Like if you were to ask me, Peter was Jesus' right hand. Maybe he had like right hand, but and then people that follow them, but not friends. And I think one of the um, Wes said, think about it. I think the more that we lean into this paradox of life, which is, yeah, I think the more that we lean into this paradox of life, the more that we learn to be at peace with it, because life is a paradox. What else is it? Juxtaposition. I'm not sure that's the right word. It contrasts each other. It's yin and yang. It's black and white. It's opposition. For example, the fact that we have to surrender, or the fact that we have to what's some opposition that we face? Like, to be free, we literally have to surrender and give up. In order to live the best life that we possibly can, we have to be willing to accept the worst. In order to get stronger, we have to feel like we're getting weaker. Pretty much, you never know that you need to get up until you've fallen down. That's basically everything in life. Actually, let me quote Janae Aiko. One of my favorite songs by her is called WAYS, and it says, "What's the hook?" It says, "There's really no end. There's really no beginning. There's really no real. There's really no pretending. There's really no fail. There's really no winning. Because nothing really is. Because nothing really isn't. And everything really isn't." So everything that she just said was a contrasting thing, because there's really no real and there's really no pretending, because life is based upon our perception, right? And the lens that we see everything out of is whatever emotions that we're feeling. Sometimes we allow it to be our circumstance. And the way that we perceive life is different depending on who you are. Meaning that even what we think is true isn't the truth, because there are different truths. If there are different perceptions of how everybody sees, there are different truths. It's totally possible for my red to be your blue, because you've never seen my red. But maybe we're looking at the same thing. Maybe me and you could be looking at the same thing and it's the same color. However, I perceive it as red and you perceive it as blue. That's just a example. Um, but I say all that to say that life is a perception. There are many truths. What is really isn't. And you can't get up if you don't know that you've fallen. It's all a paradox. Everything in life contrasts each other. To everything exists its opposite, and one thing can exist without the other. Good can't exist without bad. It's just how the world works. Let me read some of these comments. Cloud Arky said, just been reading books now about spirituality and God, at times with some philosophical teachings. The more you reject this feeling, the more disarray your spirit goes into. Yeah. The more you reject like what you've been actually called to do, the harder it is on us. Again, like trying to fit our star into a square is painful. It hurts. It's draining. And a lot of us probably don't realize that we're doing this, but once we're able to kind of see the benefit of being a star, we want to be the star. Like we want to be the odd one out, even if there's no other stars around us. And it's a painful process. Like I think Alicia was saying, or Q Cab said, realizing that you have to do that in order to be free. We have to assume the position that everybody else isn't doing, and kind of like sometimes be the lone wolf and go into isolation in order to free ourselves from everything that we're forcing ourselves into just because we want to be accepted and validated by other people simply. Alicia said, wow, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah. Jesus was a G. Cloud Arky said, you're really right, for real. He was all alone earthly, but all he really had was God. Oh my gosh. And that's what I'm saying. Like, of course, as I said before, we had our whole mini conversation about, spirituality. I can't tell anybody else who God is for them, because I don't know that for sure. I only know who God is for me. And as long as we know who that is for ourselves and we're connected, like really, really connected, and it brings us peace in our heart, and we find what that is for us, we just can't go wrong. And there's like no way to feel alone when you're connected to the creator of all of us. There's no way to feel alone. And that was one of the main things um, that allowed me personally to embrace being a star. And I would encourage everybody else to keep going on that journey, especially if you are on that journey right now. Just keep going. Keep going. Um, Alicia said, growing up, I never understood what it meant to surrender, and now I know it. Yeah. Dream Move said, man, I wish my room was that quiet. My area is always so noisy. Yeah, I only got my parents here. It's only me and my parents. Uh, my brother moved out the house. If he was here, it probably wouldn't be as noisy. I mean, it probably wouldn't be as quiet. Our childhood and upbringing says plays a big part too. Definitely. If you're raised to follow a certain norm, societal norm, all the type of norms, then that definitely everything in our childhood manifests into our uh, adulthood and on. And then sometimes we kind of like develop certain habits and things that we don't know where they came from, but it manifested itself early. And it doesn't impact us until later on. That's so true. Facts. Dream, I ain't heard a boom or a yell this whole life. I wish mine was too. Yeah, it'd be quiet in my house. It'd be hella quiet. Yes. That's true, Cav. Sometimes it's all because of our parents that impacts our teenage years. Most of the notorious people on this planet always start off with, my parents are friends. Dream Move said, I just find it strange how everything fits itself so perfectly together, almost as if it was done so intentionally. Have you thought about that? Let me read that again. I just find I just find it strange how everything fits itself so perfectly together, almost as if it was done so intentionally. Have you thought about that? I have. And one thing I want to say about that is everything is intentional, very intentional. And what was I going to say? I'm waiting for the train to go back on its tracks. Synchronicity is so real. And when you feel alignment in your life, it's simply realizing that everything is already kind of predetermined for you. Everything in life was already planned before you got here, before we got here. Or at least this is what I believe. And there are um, so many different possibilities. There are so many different possible outcomes. And out of all of the outcomes that have happened, they were strategically put in place. And I guess you can think of yourself as one small piece in a trillion piece puzzle. When we think about all the pieces that connect to each other, we're only one piece, right? But our piece connects to three other pieces around it. And then those three pieces connect to six other pieces around those three pieces, and then on and on and on. And when I think about that, I think of like everything that we do and everything that happens in our life is somehow connected to another event or multiple other events that allow each other to affect each other, kind of like the butterfly effect. And it was all intentionally designed and planned. And so when you realize how um, a lot of times when synchronicity is happening and when things are aligning, in the moment, we kind of are blinded to what's happening right here, right now. But then when we look back, like 3 or 4 or 5 months in, at everything that aligned themselves for you to be here where you are doing exactly what you're doing, um, that's simply the awareness you now have of everything that was predetermined. I don't believe, or I believe that everything that has happened and everything that is happening now was supposed to happen. Nothing is ever a mistake. I believe that we definitely make choices that aren't beneficial for us. However, you know how we often say, Dag, I'm not supposed to be here in this place. This sucks. I'm not supposed to be here. I should have chosen that other road. I should have made that other decision because I should actually be in this place over here, but I'm really here. When we say that, we actually neglect our responsibility that we have to change our current situation. What else do I have to say about that? I don't know. Just everything. Everything is the way it is for a reason, and it's supposed to be there. It's not a mistake. And just because sometimes our life feels like it sucks, which is totally valid, doesn't mean we're not supposed to be where we currently are. It just means our life is going to have to suck for a little while because there's something that needs to happen in this point in time for us to advance to the next level. And sometimes it needs to suck. Even if it doesn't feel right. Everything doesn't always feel right, but again, we often think with our own human logic, our own ego mind. And if we planned our entire life, oh my gosh, our life would be in shambles because our human mind doesn't know what's best for our own self. So even when things feel like they're not supposed to be the way that they are, or when they suck, yeah, it might suck, but you're supposed to be here. You are. It's just once we take responsibility for like reclaiming the power to take control of our own life and where we know ourselves to be, um, we can exactly that and reclaim that power. And um, that's actually a paradox because in the same way that you have to surrender to everything that you're not in control of, we also have to realize that we do have control, but we don't have total control. That's so interesting. We don't have total control over our life, but because it is definitely our creator that already planned everything out in our life, that has control to move and shift things around, but also we have control. Okay, that's another topic too. That's another topic. Um, yeah, Cloud Archie, my family did a number on me. Same, but you got to break out of that mental confinement. You got to forgive them and move on. It doesn't mean you got to put yourself in their world, but make peace with them. You got that higher mind, so nearly you'd see nearly everything they did, but resent and regret won't slow anyone down except you, my friend. Haha. I actually made a video on that about how resentment um and I think it was more so about taking offense and how taking offense to other people's actions only holds us in captivity. Yeah, that's so true. You feel these thoughts and these emotions, no one else, so remember that. Yeah. Hi, Lolo, I'm here. Hi. This is getting mad deep, but true. Man, you gotta go back and watch like the rest of it because we had a whole conversation. I mean, we had a lot of it. So I recommend like going back and watch it. Um, because it was a good conversation. This was a good conversation, but we're actually like coming to the end of it because I've been on live for an hour and 10 minutes. We talked about, not fitting in, like not feeling like there's a place. Oh, I want to leave you all with something. Oh yeah, and then my ring light went out and it kind of like threw me off. Like it really caught me off guard. It startled me. Um, I still think that's kind of funny. Let's see. Just going through my notes, making sure there wasn't anything that I really, really wanted to say that I missed. Overall, we never have to force the things that are the most beneficial to us. So this goes back to describing that infant toy with the blocks of the different shapes. The square block is supposed to go in the square hole. The circle block is supposed to go in the circle hole. The star block is supposed to go in the star hole. But if we're a star and we try to force ourselves into the square hole, right? The more we try to force ourselves into the wrong hole, the more adversity we face. The more we actually like bring it upon ourselves. Um, have you ever heard of like self-inflicted wounds? That's exactly what that is. And let's see what else. Yeah, we shouldn't have to force those things, but we often find ourselves doing so. The way that I personally got out of feeling like I was in this, um, the way that I got out of feeling the captivity, like being held in captivity, not fitting in, which I encourage others to do the same, is to see all the ways in which it benefits you. See the ways in which being a star versus being a square benefits you. Um, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to the movies, but I'm going tomorrow now. I'm rewatching and sharing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for liking the video. Skizzer said, it's crazy because my quote that I left in that one comment section brought you to comment on my comment, and then I saw you made a content which brought me to you, and I gotta believe it was for a reason. Everything's for a reason. Everything's for a reason. But I'm so glad that you came on this conversation and that you all enjoy my videos. I highly appreciate it. If it was just one person watching, I would still make these videos, because it's like making this type of stuff is kind of like a way that you express yourself. And then when you see that like other people are expressing their self by engaging with how you express yourself, it's very give and take. It's very give and take. I promise I'll make the next one on time. I'm gonna hold you to it. And it'll probably be on a Friday and not on Thursday because I'm traveling this weekend, so that's why I did it at this time. I usually post on a Friday, and I usually would do a live stream on a Friday and not a Thursday. But I gotta go ahead and end this one, guys, because it's been like an hour and 14 minutes. But it's been a really good conversation. I can't wait for the next one. I will do these live streams every month, probably the third week of every month or the third Friday of every month. This time it was on a Thursday. But yeah, I look forward to having the next conversation. Thank you all for having this conversation with me. It was very educational. And yeah, have a great night, everybody. And be safe. I'm sending peace your way, love your way, and joy to you, your family, and your friends. All right, y'all. Have a great weekend. Peace.